It's Greg and Joel Fix the World. Because if you haven't heard, guys don't hang out anymore, they start a podcast. While they're at it, they're fixing the world and solving every problem you've ever had. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to Greg and Joel Fix the World. I'm your co-host, Joel.
I'm Greg, and this is...
Mark Bunting.
Mark, pleasure to have you.
Good to be here.
Welcome, Mark.
Thank you.
Just for full transparency, Mark and I have known each other for over 2 decades.
Mark and I have known each other for 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
But we're all besties by now, right?
And you guys go how far back?
22 years.
Okay.
Almost the same amount as we know each other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very good.
So I am the linchpin of this relationship right now.
Yeah, you are. And I'm going to be the mic caddy because we've only got one. So we're going to do our best to share.
Right.
So the conceit, for those of you that don't know, we ask each other questions. The other person doesn't know the question, and then we talk about it, and we hopefully fix the world in the process. So today, Mark, you're our special guest. We're going to pose the question to you about humor.
Mm-hmm.
What do you find humorous? What makes you laugh?
All kinds of things. I think if I were to define what I find funny, I'd have to go way back to when I was young, and so I'm of a certain vintage, and so there were
Like a fine wine.
yes, and I was left to my own devices a lot of the time. I had 2 older sisters. My parents were often out on a Friday night or so on, so I watched way too much TV when I was younger, and consumed all sorts of shows, so sitcoms and so on. So I'm trying to think though. That I think the first time I remember watching TV and I couldn't stop laughing. Thought it was so funny, and some people will be horrified by this, especially women, I think. But Benny Hill.
Oh yeah.
But now I was 11 years old, so that's funny to 11-year-old. And he did this sketch where he was an acrobat and he was dancing around with this woman, and of course everything kept going wrong, and she stepped on his stomach, and he did this move where he picks her up, but she's facing him, and so her private parts are right in his face. And as an 11-year-old, I was just killing myself. So, but I think overall, I like things that are absurdist. I like satire. I like dry humor, and it's such a fine line too. To when you find something funny, and then let's say there's another show where you're just kind of, this doesn't do it. Like, so an example would be WKRP in Cincinnati. Never thought it was funny.
Oh really? I love that show.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Not me.
Yeah.
Oh.
No.
Well, let's get into that. Why?
Well, I could be sort of a TV snob, but I was a Norman Lear guy. And again, this is going back to I was quite young, but All in the Family, Maude,
Yeah.
Jeffersons, all those shows that were high quality, very funny. And then there's certain other ones that people just loved, and they still go on about Les Nessman and the guy with the bow tie. Like, I tried watching. I don't find this funny. And Johnny Fever, he's not funny. He's trying to be cool. He's not funny. It's just a very personal thing, and it's a very fine line, I think, too. And so you liked it because
I don't know. You know how people talk about you find funny what you grow up with. So people like old SNL casts, if they grew up with that cast, that was sort of a show in my era. Like my friends would talk about it at school. We liked Johnny Fever. He was kind of the cool hippie, you know. You had Mr. Carlson was like the doofus, and we would talk about it at school. MASH was another show like that. We just talked about it all the time.
Yeah, I love MASH.
Didn't like MASH.
Okay, Greg.
Oh, no?
Speak up, man.
No. Well, I think I was a little young for MASH, too.
Are you? So you're? Can we say how old you are?
55.
55. Why do I think 57? And you're what?
53.
53. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm 63.
Oh.
So that makes a difference. You would have been younger watching WKRP and maybe had a different sensibility.
Yeah.
And you thought that was funny,
But I love all those Norman Lear shows. I watch them in reruns now.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're great.
Yeah.
In fact, they hold up better than things like WKRP.
Yeah, but even I could spend all day going through all the shows, and we all could. But I love Dick Van Dyke, the original black and white show. You'd watch the Brady Bunch, even though it wasn't necessarily funny, but everybody watched the Brady Bunch for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And Partridge Family, again, wasn't necessarily funny, but we watched it.
The laugh track didn't tell you when it was funny?
Yeah.
Laugh tracks let's just park that for now because I have a visceral reaction
Yeah.
to laugh tracks. But you know what's interesting is we don't choose what we find funny, right? Do you have any say in what you find funny? Like, could you explain why? Like, you mentioned what you grow up with.
Yeah.
In a way, it's like the flavors you grow up with. Like, what kind of chocolate you like. We like it sweeter in Canada than in the U.S., I think, because we grew up with it. Like, what makes something funny? You don't pick, like, if there's a joke and there's tension and the punchline comes, like, some people will hear the same thing, and it's not funny.
It's true, but you
You
for
know?
yourself can pick, right? Like,
Yeah.
I know that I like a good pun, a clever pun,
Yeah.
a sarcastic remark that's clever. There has to be a level of cleverness that takes me where I didn't think it was going to go, and then, boom, the punchline hits you. So
Yeah.
this, I don't know if that has a name for it, but
No, I think that's the key to, like, I'm no expert on it, but that misdirection where you set it
Yeah.
up and the audience goes, oh yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about, and then you go in that direction. Oh, you didn't see it coming, and hence the laugh. I'm thinking of, and actually after this we're talking about TV shows, but we should also probably talk about what we find funny in our daily lives, the kinds of people we find funny, or at a cocktail party or whatever it might be. Not that we go to cocktail parties all the time. But so Dave Chappelle, in one of his specials within the last decade, I forget which one, he built up this joke, talking about the history of black people serving in the army, and on and on and on, and none of it was funny, and so but it was very learned and interesting and educational, and then right at the end he said, and all that time Bill Cosby was raping 52 women, and like a horribly offensive joke. But the way he set it up, everybody was somber. Wow, that's real.
Yeah.
And then he took it completely in the other. I was not expecting it,
yeah.
and I just killed myself. It's one of the funniest jokes I've ever heard. Yeah. Anyway, not that. Yeah. Anyway, we could go on about Cosby, but we won't.
But Greg, you were saying that we don't pick what we like, but
No.
I sort of feel that we do. I know a genre of comedy that I
No.
like.
Now you can. Like, you know what you enjoy, and then you'll expose yourself to it.
Yeah.
Expose yourself to it, but you won't. Can you
Only when you wear a trench coat.
Right? Can you explain why that you find that funny? That what amuses you? Do you have any idea why your mind responds to it that way? And I think it's an interesting question because as we are here to fix the world and ultimately perhaps encourage, lightheartedness and more joy and so on, I think we've all had the experience that some people just don't get the humor we do, and some people seem a little bit humorless sometimes, and it's like it could be
Why did you
important.
point to Mark?
Humorless.
Yeah.
And
I'm a representation.
No, because
of
I think
that.
I heard you use that
Yeah,
word.
we
earlier.
were talking earlier.
And,
About
and we could sometimes. It's important to remember that we're not right for finding something funny, right? Even though I know we are,
Yeah.
because that is funny and you should laugh at that. But we don't get to choose the fact that we find it funny.
But I actually get annoyed
Yeah.
when I know
Yeah.
something is hilarious,
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
other person doesn't think so, and it's annoying.
It is annoying.
It makes me
because
angry.
it's legit funny,
Yeah.
and they should know that.
So is that a thing? Is there legit funny that everyone should agree with, and then not, or is it a spectrum?
Yeah,
I think it's subjective.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own sense of humor. But I had never thought of your point. Why do I find what's funny? And I hadn't really given a lot of thought, to be honest. So is it just inherent in us, or is it a learned behavior? You learn what you find amusing and what you don't.
Do you think it's both? Like, I know in my house we were all sarcastic, and I think my parents were that way too. Sarcasm was like a love language in my house, and so as an adult, I find it funny, and I'm very sarcastic. It puts people off sometimes, but especially in relationships. But I like that kind of humor, probably because I learned it as a young kid.
Right.
But you do develop your own sense of humor as you grow. Plus, your friends influence you. Like when we hang out, we riff on each other, and I think we find the same things kind of funny. So
yeah.
it's a combination of.
I find I have a small bunch of friends. I think most people ultimately, when you think about it, you may have 100 friends, but you really only have like say 5 or 6 that are truly your friends. And I find the one thing they have in common with I guess all of them is that we share a similar sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
because you're not going to hang out with somebody for years on end if you don't find the same things funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have that connection. For me, anyway.
I think it's great when I'm listening to a podcast or something and I text you to tell you, and you've already heard it.
Yeah,
Because I know then we're in sync on these things.
Yeah.
You know, you've already listened to it before I can even tell you about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a feeling. It's just a feeling, and you can't even explain it. So Louis C.K. is one of my favorites, and there's one particular joke which I think summarizes why I think he's so brilliant and why I could see somebody else not getting it. So one of his, are you familiar with his "of course but maybe" routine?
I'm not.
I'm going to try to channel my inner Louis here. So, of course, if a child is allergic to peanuts, of course we have to make sure that the schools are peanut free, and we have to make sure everybody washes their hands and make sure all the surfaces are peanut free, and we have to care for the child because of the allergies, of course. But maybe if touching a peanut kills you, you're supposed to die. it's a horrible, and you're laughing.
Yeah.
And it's a horrible joke, and you either find that funny or you're kind of like a horrible person, and I can't explain why that kind of thing is funny, but I could totally understand if somebody else hears that. It's like, oh, you can't talk about children, and it's like, I get it. Like, I'm not right for finding it funny. I'm just kind of helpless for finding it funny. I'm just kind of helpless to that kind of surprise, subversive humor.
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard comedians, maybe you've heard this before, but comedians talk about it's a bit, right? And it's all material. There's nothing they're saying that's actually real when they talk about their wives or their relationships or their kids. It's all made up stuff. And I think a lot of people don't know that. It's like, oh my God, he actually said that about his wife. You know, what is she thinking? No, it's a bit. It's a joke.
Well,
and people they're not in on it.
That goes to our point about humorlessness. Some people are just humorless. They take it personally, or they get defensive. Or, you can't joke. How can you joke about? I think anything's fair game, really. It's up to the audience. But yeah, a lot of people do get upset by certain jokes.
Yeah.
Because Ricky Gervais has a stand-up special from him a few years ago. He comes out and he does that whole routine. That, just so you know, these are just jokes. It's okay. You know, if I say I'm going to beat up a toddler, I'm not actually going to beat up a toddler unless they brought one out and beat him up. That's just so you know. It's just and because he really pushes back on all that political correctness and.
Yeah, and that's become a brilliant part of the joke, that he has to say that, right? Nobody's beating up any toddlers here. It's just a joke.
Yeah.
So when you meet someone or you're in a social situation where you know that person isn't funny or you know they're not getting your kind of wavelength, do you immediately have a kind of judgment about that person? Like, not my kind of person. You know, I don't think I can hang out with this guy.
Possibly, not in a malicious way.
Not mean,
no. But I could see that. But the opposite of that is you're getting to know somebody, and then they surprise you with it, and they go, "That's really funny," and then you go, "Oh, I think I kind of like this guy because and then then you start realizing you have something in common potentially.
That's how we met. You want to tell that story? Should I tell that story?
About the Trudeau thing? Or
no. The note that I slipped.
Oh yeah. We worked at BNN. For those who don't know, because this is being seen all over the world.
All over the world.
That's the equivalent of, say, CNBC in Canada. So we worked there, and I was at the Bloomberg terminal. I'm working away. Joel's here, and there was a...
we won't say names.
No, we won't say names, but there was a superior or
producer,
a colleague, somewhat higher than you in terms of rank, and she was berating you about something. And I look over, and you had slid me this little Post-it note while she's berating you, and it said "Kill me now," and I internally, I didn't do it out loud, but I thought that is so fun. Like the fact that you had the presence of mind to actually do that while she's saying, and another thing, Joel, blah blah blah, and you go, "Oh God, kill me now."
That made you fall in love with me, right then.
Yeah, that's when the bromance started. Yeah,
but those are the kinds of things, like just the little sneaky jokes that other people aren't in on are sometimes the best ones.
Well, you mentioned the 100 people and your closest 5. Like, if I think of the people closest to me, they're all people I connect with humor too.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like, if there's a gap in the humor, there's a gap kind of in the friendship to an extent, because there's only so close. I feel we don't fully understand each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's pretty key. It's with my kids too. Like the humor, like I'm right in there with them, and I wonder what it would be like if I wasn't. It would be different, right?
My kids have totally taken on this sort of old world Polish, Jewish, Ashkenazi sarcasm that I grew up with. I'm guessing it's all me. It all came from me, but they've totally embraced it, and that's how they talk to me now. If anything I say, I'm having a piece of toast, they go, "Oh, look at you having your toast!" Right away they ride me for it.
Yeah, I think children want to please their parents, and so they probably try to feed your humor back to you in a way, because then they get a good reaction. Because I know my one of my daughters, she's always very pleased when she makes me laugh out loud. She's quite happy with herself when she can do that.
I like it on the flip side. I love it when I really laugh hard from one of my kids' jokes. I feel so proud after that.
But if I think of my siblings, so I have two siblings, and we share some things in common with our humor, but we're unique also. Like some things I find funny, they don't get it at all. And it's not because they're not smart enough to get it, they just get other things. And we grew up in the same house, with the same parents, the same upbringing, the same social influences. So yeah, there's got to be some kind of genetic biochemistry quirk to what our brain registers as funny.
So is that the not choosing part?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
So what about, I mentioned a few shows that I like. So starting from when you first discover comedy and comedic shows and so on, from say 10 to now, we could spend hours, but we don't have to. But just like maybe your top 3, 4, or 5 shows up to now in terms of humor.
A lot of my TV as a kid was sort of dictated by what either my older siblings or my parents were watching. So I remember watching Carol Burnett as a kid. And I don't know if I thought it was funny or I was just reacting to everybody else.
Yeah.
But I have sort of strong memories of that. I got into SNL pretty early, SCTV pretty early.
Oh, yeah.
I think I mentioned MASH and things like that.
Were you a Monty Python guy?
No.
No? Yeah, they're kind of polarizing, I think. Some people can't stand them. I don't get it. I don't find it funny. Other people are fanatical.
Yeah.
I was in the middle.
Every line.
Like, I liked it. I watched them all. And I thought it was funny, but I wasn't fanatical to the point where I knew every word and knew every word of every song. And what about you?
Yes, I'm thinking like going way back. I used to watch Maude in my parents' room, so that was like going way back. I was a kid there. I also liked the Golden Girls, which I thought was funny.
Golden Girls.
I used to watch Friends. Like there's some moments.
Wait a minute. Maude and Golden Girls.
Yeah, there's a theme.
There's a
There's a
thing
theme.
going on there.
Yeah. She was awesome.
B. Arthur thing.
And I loved her in Fiddler on the Roof, the original Broadway cast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
Just so we're
Mic drop.
But also like Friends, there'd be like a moment like the whole pivot. But I didn't watch these shows and really laugh. They were entertaining, they were light and entertaining, and they were comedies. But it's not like I would sit and laugh.
No.
It'd be like a, ha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a comforting
It's a little
show.
chuckle,
I think mostly for women.
What, Friends?
I never liked Friends.
Oh.
I respected it, but I never found it funny.
Seinfeld?
That's just me. Seinfeld, I respected, and for whatever reason, what's all this fuss about this show, Seinfeld? So I watched one. I thought it was very clever, well written, but I was just never. I think part of it was I think I was just out and about, and I couldn't devote myself every Thursday to watching a certain show. So I know of all the history of it, and I've seen the odd show here and there, and again respected it, but just never really watched it, to be honest. Yeah.
But in terms of laughing out loud, like I know now everybody in every text is LOL, like it's a thing. But did you ever actually laugh out loud?
It's rare.
Watching
It's
TV,
rare.
like there's a couple maybe some movie moments where that happened. But yeah, it's rare. It's more like a quiet internal, huh.
Sometimes if I watch Colbert or something, I find myself laughing out loud.
Yeah.
I was thinking of I went to see Borat by myself in a theater.
Good one.
And I didn't know much about it, and I didn't even know it was the same guy who did Ali G.
Right.
Wow.
Knew nothing, and so, but I knew enough to go see this thing. And I'm a tough audience, and I swear I laughed out loud like at least 10 times.
Yeah.
And I immediately texted a friend of mine. I said, "You have to see this." And he said, "Oh yeah, I've heard." And I said, "No, you don't get it. This is the funniest thing I think I've ever seen in a theater, or maybe ever."
That scene where he's wrestling.
Oh
the
my
guy.
God, it's so outrageous.
Or when he's singing the national anthem. I like that.
Yeah, that one, or oh my God.
Yeah, he is fearless, committed to the comedy.
Yeah.
Absolutely fearless. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was pretty amazing.
So in our questions and in our conversations, we like to, how are we fixing the world by talking about humor? Any thoughts on that, Mark?
Well, I was just saying, off air, off mic, off camera. Is that how you say it in this?
I don't know in the
business?
biz.
Even though you're on all these things.
Yeah,
but
I know. Anyway, I'm being silly, but anyway, how do we? Oh, so I was saying that just in my own life, I know that when I was younger, I felt I'd have more fun. Like let's say in a newsroom setting or just with friends, and now I just seem like I'm more slow and steady and just too serious all the time. And I think, where did that go? And I want to sort of recapture that a little bit more, because a lot of people, I think, because I have this sort of, I don't know, a stoic look, a resting face, people think I'm serious, and I can be, but I love to joke around. I used to think, I said to you before, back in the day, perfect gig for me would be writing on, say, David Letterman's show when it was, at its height, the kind of thing, just to be in a writing room and shooting the shit, coming up with ideas and just killing yourself. What a way to go through life, or at least your career. And so I think, I don't know, if people can, I don't know, get off social media here and there, and just to try to find a little more joy and happiness in our lives, a little more humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I had a cream pie, I'd shove it in your face right now. But I don't.
Yeah.
Alas. Well, Greg.
No, it's good advice. Just just find some joy.
Find some joy.
It feels like it's in short supply at sometimes, and it doesn't have to be a laugh out loud punchline, right? It could just be like, find some joy.
Yeah.
I like that.
All right. Well,
thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
Did you have one last thing?
No, I was going to say on this very somber note, somber, humorless note, thank you for joining us.
And we'll see you soon.
Take care.